We're glad you could set a few moments aside today to join us and learn about playful interactions with your toddler and how they might be able to help your child's development, especially communication, but all areas, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. My name is Allison, and I am the speech therapist for Shelby County Early Intervention.
I'm Kendra, and I'm the occupational therapist for early intervention at the Shelby County Board.
I'm Ashley, and I'm the developmental specialist for Shelby County Early Intervention.
We thought we would start with a few slides about why playful interactions are important. As you look over some of our favorite quotes here on the screen, you'll see that the one thing that they have in common is that relationships are important. The times that you can interact with your child in a playful back and forth interaction where you're both laughing, you're both enjoying the interaction, those are the times your child learns the most. I'm sure there's times that everyone has where you're trying to play with your child, but the child ends up leaving, or they don't want to stay in the interaction, or they don't want to play with the toy that you're showing them. Ashley's going to talk a little bit about why that might be happening.
That's because we as parents need to get into your child's world. As an adult, we are thinking about teaching different skills such as colors, shapes, ABCs, and 1, 2, 3s, naming what's on your shirt, what color is this. Your toddler is thinking more about actions such as digging, throwing, and hiding. And also sensations are what the toddler is feeling. Some sensations are crashing, swinging, flying in the air. When getting into the child's world, we as adults need to think like a toddler, doing what they like to do. One way to get into your child's world are play routines.
So we're going to start talking about play routines, but before that we'll take a look at a video of Kendra and her nephew in a little play routine that they've enjoyed ever since he was little.
Shoot! Oh, again? Oh, again. Achoo!
Yes, play routine just means doing the same, the song or the game or the interaction the same way each time. So making it predictable so that your child knows what's coming up and they know how they can participate in that interaction. That's the first way we can make it a play routine. So I want to watch a video now of a play routine with a little baby. It's my grandchild, and she's only 7 months old. And we're going to do row, row, row your boat. You want to do rowboat? Should we do it again? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Oh, I gave you hiccups. Oh, hiccup. Rowboat. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So in that video, you'll notice that Haley's only about 6 or 7 months old. So she's not going to participate by using words or saying row your boat. This is just setting the scene. So when she is older and we play that game, she'll be able to maybe request rowboat, or she might have a different way to ask for it. Right now we were just enjoying each other and having fun in a back and forth interaction and building that relationship. Another important thing to remember about a play routine is that we're using simple words and short phrases. They're repeated often. Rowboat would be an example for what I just showed you there. The other thing that we want to remember is any signal from the child is okay. So if you're playing a bouncing game on your lap and you pause and the child starts to bounce, that's their signal, that's their communication. It doesn't have to be words, accepting whatever they can do at the time as doing their part of the game. The last point really should have been my first point, I think, because it's the most important, is be possible. So making sure that you're doing something or you're expecting something from your child that's possible for them to do. Very often I'll have parents say that their child doesn't have words. They say mama, dada, maybe ball. But yet when they're playing, I often see them picking up a toy and saying, what is this? That is not being possible. They don't have the word for dinosaur or whatever you're holding up. And you're not being possible. So we want to make sure if the child doesn't have words, we're just accepting those bouncing movements or some kind of action, and then that evolves as the child's language evolves. Are you coming? Okay, because I'm ready to turn you into a pizza. Your shirt, okay. I got to first roll the dough, and then what's next? Sauce. You want red or white?
What?
White sauce?
Yeah, what?
Sauce on the pizza. Whole bunch or a little bit? A little bit, okay. And I'm done with sauce. What's next? Meat? Meat. Oh, meat. And here comes the cheese. You ready? Are you nervous? Cheese. Cheese tickles, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Cheese. Extra cheese? Oh, extra cheese. Extra cheese. So there is a difference between that video with a pizza game, obviously, with an older child, and the one with the 6-month-old earlier. So the pizza game, we played that with them since they've been very little. So they know the choices that they can make. They have a lot of vocabulary. They can choose what toppings they want on their pizza. That's just to show you how those routines and rituals, how they evolve after they've been exposed to them several times. Any game that's silly, that's fun, that the kids request, that happens the same way each time, can be good for language and development in general. So far we've talked about how these games relate to language, and they encourage any kind of communication skills. But these same games can also help with a child's sensory regulation, because they involve bouncing and squeezing and jumping. So if your child's active, sometimes they might be difficult to keep in an interaction. It may be because of their sensory system. So Kendra's going to talk a little bit about this and how these games relate to the sensory system.
What we have is sensory processing is when we have all those senses like hearing, smelling, taste, etc. And what we're supposed to do is that we take all those inputs in, our brain processes it, and then we bring out an appropriate response. So some children that we work with, that's very difficult for them. This is what we're going to talk more about today. On the screen you see Winnie the Pooh. In the show you have several characters, but the ones we're going to talk about today are Tigger, Pooh, and Eeyore. Now you may be wondering how these are connected. Well, let me tell you about them a little bit. So Tigger, as you always remember, is always jumping on his tail. He's on the go, he's high energy. Pooh is very even level, with a calm body, calm demeanor. Eeyore is very sluggish and sleepy and difficult to rouse. So talking about sensory regulation with these, we want our children to have a calm and ready body like Winnie the Pooh. So they are ready to learn, communicate, and do what they need to do. So then thinking about Tigger, for a child like Tigger, it's very hard for them to take in information, learn, communicate, because their brain may be running way too fast for them to be able to do this. So how are we going to help? We are going to do games and activities that burn off energy so that we can get their bodies as close to Pooh level as we possibly can. So what about Eeyore? You're thinking, and yes, we do have children like Eeyore.
It's hard to believe, but we do.
It's hard to believe. Because as you remember, Eeyore is very sluggish and very hard to rouse. But same for Eeyore, it's hard for their bodies to be ready to learn because their brain is just not able to be regulated to be able to take that information in appropriately. So again, we may need to rev their bodies up so that we can get their bodies as close to Pooh level as we can. So now you may be asking, well, what can we do? So some of those activities, those can all be part of sensory regulation as well. So yes, we talked about talking before and how that can help with communication, but it can also be helpful to burn off that energy as well. Another strategy that we can use is heavy work. So that's also a great way to burn off energy and to help bring those tiggers down to poo level and bring those Eeyores up to poo level as well. So heavy work is when we use a lot of muscles at the same time, burning a lot of energy. So pulling, pushing, lifting are all those wonderful things to do. Like tug of war, having children build towers with those couch cushions and pillows, even helping put away groceries.
Right, and these are not separate ideas. This is not sensory ideas and language ideas. These ideas can be the same activity, can hit both areas. So for example, when you're talking about putting away groceries, you remember the points I made earlier about using short phrases, using predictable phrases, so the same phrases over and over again. So we're going to open the door, ooh, and talk about each can as you put it away, maybe give a simple name to it. In the cupboard, shut. You know, so we get to the refrigerator. Oh, open the door. Oh, we got to put in the orange. Shut. So the areas overlap. They're not separate ideas for sensory versus language. It all happens together. So hopefully you've learned how to have fun like a toddler and why that's important. But mostly we want you to remember that happy toddlers learn better than grumpy toddlers. Thanks for joining us.